everyone, thank you for tuning into my channel for another episode of Science into Another World News. I know it's been a minute since I posted a video, but I'm here today to post another video and to talk to you guys about some interesting stuff. So yeah. Oh, and thanks for all the new people who subscribe to my channel. Yes, so I do really appreciate that. So I was laying in bed a couple of days ago watching a documentary. I'm always watching like UFO, alien abduction documentaries, or reading stuff about UFOs or alien abductions and stuff like that. And so I was watching this documentary on Tubi, and oh my God, what was the title of it? I can't remember what the title of it was, but I know it has something to do with like alien abductions and the government making contact with beings out in space or whatever. It goes back to the when President Eisenhower was in office, and suppose he signed that created treaty with alien beings or whatever. But anyway, and as they was going through the documentary, they were talking about Project Sigma, or they mentioned Project Sigma, and I've tried to follow a lot of UFO topics and a lot of UFO news, but by no means I'm no expert. I am far from an expert. I just do this as a hobby. I'm no researcher. I'm not out in the field. I've gone to UFO conferences and stuff, but I'm not there out there interviewing people who've been abducted or whatever. Nobody's telling me their confidential secrets or sending me top secret information or whatever. I haven't written any books or anything. But so I was listening. I'm like, Project Sigma? I've never heard of that. I think I'm gonna have to research it. So I looked online. I Googled Project Sigma. I could barely find anything on Project Sigma. I found this one little page, this website, that mentioned a little bit about it. I'm gonna read some to you. It mentions other stuff on this website too. It's like called Majestic 12 and the Secret Government by William Cooper. And that's really all I could find. It was bringing me up other stuff about recent stuff when I Googled Project Sigma. But I went through my books because I have like tons of books. And I'm like, maybe it's in one of my books. So I have this book that someone got me from the library a couple of years ago. And it has all kinds of stuff in here. It talks about alien abductions. It talks about UFO landings. It talks about scientists. Oh, my cat scared the crap out of me. She jumped off her cat tower onto this other little platform. And so I'm like, maybe it's in this book that I have. It's like a UFO encyclopedia or whatever. It has really good stuff in here. So I looked in the index, and lo and behold, in the back of it, it talks about Project Sigma, which I have never heard of it. So this Project Sigma stems back from the 40s. It was created by President Eisenhower in relation to the... Okay, so I guess when the Roswell crash happened in 1947, he decided to create Project Sigma sometime, I guess, in... The dates are different. Because one says from the 40s to the 50s. So I'm assuming it started in the 40s and it ended in the 50s, whatever. But it was based on this group of people. There was some people from the CIA, some people from NSA. They formed this group, and their job was to understand and study alien technology and reverse engineer it. But they're also, according to this website, I don't know how accurate this website is, but I'm going to read it to you. And they was also supposed to monitor communications out in space among the ETs that I think that were here, and for some reason they sent out signals out into space, using like reverse engineer alien. I don't know. I'm gonna read it to you so you guys can better understand. I'm gonna read you from the book, and I'm gonna read it from the article too. So, unlike my new glasses, I got some new glasses, you guys. They're by Elton John. I didn't even know Elton John made glasses, but he does, and I like them. I hope you guys like them too. Give me a comment down below. So, let's see, where is it? It says on here, creation of the NSA. President Truman created this super... So I guess it wasn't true. So I was wrong. It wasn't... I thought it was Eisenhower, but it was Truman. So President Truman created this super secret national security agency best agency by secret executive order on November 4th, 1952. Its primary purpose was to decipher the alien communication and language and establish a dialogue with the aliens. This most urgent task was a continuation of the earlier effort and was codenamed Sigma. The second phase of the NSA was to monitor all communications and emissions from any and all devices worldwide for the purpose of gathering intelligence, both human and alien, and to contain the secret of alien presence. Project Sigma was successful. The NSA also maintains communication with the lunar base and other secret space programs. I definitely believe there are secret space programs. If you guys have followed, you remember the Gary McKinnon who hacked the Department of Defense and NASA back in, I think it was 2001. It was before it was definitely before. Was it after September 11th? I think it was after September 11th. And he went into their website and hacked it or whatever, and he put up information about NASA and the Department of Defense secret space programs, and it was like a manifest of like names and stuff, of non-human names and stuff. So he ended up getting in trouble, and the government wanted to have him extradited to the U.S. because they say he did like millions of dollars of damage on their computer, which was complete BS. They wanted him to come to the United States because of what he found on their computers. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But if you guys don't know about Gary McKinnon, I highly suggest you look him up. He's part of Richard Dolan members too, which I'm a part of. So let me get back to where I was. Let's see. Okay, so by executive order, the NSA is exempt from all laws which do not specifically name the NSA in the text of a law as being subject to that law. That means that if the agency is not spelled out in the text of any and every law passed by Congress, it is not subject to that or those laws. The NSA now performs many other duties and in fact is the premier agency within the intelligence community. Today, NSA receives 75% of the monies allotted to the intelligence community. The old saying, "Where does the money goes, therein the power where the money goes, therein the power resides," is true. The DCI today is a figurehead maintained as a public ruse. The primary task of the NSA is still alien communication, but now includes other alien projects as well. President Truman has been keeping our allies, including the Soviet Union, informed of the developing alien progress since Roswell recovered. This has been done in case the aliens turned out to be a threat to the human race. Plans were formulated to defend the Earth in case of invasion. Great difficulty was encountered in maintaining international secrecy. It was decided that an outside group was necessary to coordinate and control international efforts in order to hide the secret from the normal scrutiny of governments by the press. The result was the formation of a society known as the Bilderberg. Oh my God, Richard Dolan talks about the Bilderbergs a lot on his website, A Secret Society. He also talked about the Davos group that they work together, but I wouldn't be surprised. The headquarters of this group is in Geneva, Switzerland. The Bilderbergers evolved into a secret world government that now controls everything in the United States. The United Nations was then and is now an international joke. So yeah. Okay, that talks a little bit about the Sigma program. And let me read to you what's in the book. Let me see. In the book, it goes into about UFO crashes and how the NSA was created. So in response to the Roswell incident, MJ-12, the MJ stands for Majestic, was set up by executive order of President Harry Truman on September 24th, 1947. 1 month after the Roswell incident. How conveniently this executive order was put into place. MJ-12 operates as a policy-making body. Project Aquarius is an umbrella group in which all the various compartments dealing with ET-related issues perform their various functions. Project Sigma conducts electronic communications with the extraterrestrials, part of an ongoing contact project run through the National Security Agency since 1964, following a landing at Holloman Air Force Base in late April of that year. And then it goes on to talk about 9 extraterrestrial races are visiting Earth. one of these racist little gray-skinned entities from the third planet surrounding Zeta Reticuli have been here for 25,000 years and influenced the direction of human evolution. They also help in shaping up our religious beliefs. Some important individuals within the cover wanted to end and are preparing the American people for the reality of the alien presence through the vehicle of popular entertainment. At CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, there is a thick book called The Bible, a compilation of all various projects. You know, when in this book, when they was talking about that the Greys have been here for like 25,000 years, it made me think of the late Phil Snyder, that geologist who worked on black military projects or whatever. He helped build DOMS, deep underground military bases, and he talked about when they were building the Dulce base, which I think was back in the, I have to look it up. I think it was I want to say it was the 80s. I could be wrong, maybe further back or closer to the 90s. But how they were digging for this underground base, the Dulce base. You know, the rumors there, they says there's like a secret facility there where aliens and humans are working together and they're doing all kinds of experiments and stuff. And Native Americans have said they have seen like black helicopters flying over there. And there was one documentary I watched where this Native American guy was being interviewed, and he was talking about when he was younger, there was this vent shaft on the side of the mountain that he heard like screams or something. He crawled into, and he could like screams coming out of it, but he didn't go down any further because he got freaked out. But they said there are rumors, and according to the late Phil Snyder, they were drilling holes. Some of you guys probably remember this story, and they hit something, and they drilled into this hole, and all this soot and smoke, and he's like said this horrible wretched smell came out of this cavern. And he like in this cavern, it opened up, and he like there was large nosed tall grays there, and he said the smell was so bad. And he said they were living down there, and they had been down there for some time, and the government knew about it, and they didn't tell them. And he was wondering why when they got there to start their work, why the Green Berets and whatever were in camp in their area. But what I find is interesting, why would the government let them build? Maybe they wasn't expecting them to go down that far or whatever. I don't know. But he let them drill on top of them and knowing they were down there. Anyway. But that made me think about when they were talking about the 25,000 years that these beings have been here. Because then that goes back to the late Phil Snyder story saying that those beings were down there. The large nosed gray aliens. I think these are the taller gray aliens, because he didn't say they were short, like 4 feet. He said these were the taller gray aliens, and they had really large noses and stuff like that. But yeah, so back to Project Sigma. I know I just go all over the place. So supposedly Project Sigma was created right after like a month later, I guess, after the Roswell case. I mean, that's what it says according to this book. And also Majestic 12. And I definitely think Majestic 12 was a thing, because if you had crashes coming down, then you had the Cape Girardeau crash of 1941. You had the Trinity crash, which Jacques Vallée and Paola Harris talks about it in this book, and it happened in New Mexico. And that was in 1945. Then you had the Roswell crash that happened in 1947 of July. And then right after the Roswell crash, like almost a year later, you had the Aztec, New Mexico crash, which happened in 1948. So you had all these crashes. So it would make sense that the president would create some type of group that answers specifically to him to monitor these situations, to report back to him. So I definitely think Majestic 12 was a thing. I also think Project Sigma probably was a thing too, because you would want to create a group of people. Like I say, it was supposed to be a group, some people from the NSA, some people from the CIA who came together, who was supposed to research and understand this alien technology from these crafts that had crashed and report back to the president on it. And then they also were monitoring alien communication. How they were doing it, I don't know. from the documentary I watched, it says that they were studying that alien technology that had crashed or whatever. They were trying to reverse engineer it, and the documentary was kind of weird because it made it seem like they reverse engineered some of the alien technology, used it to send a signal out into space, to contact ETs were out there, and that's how the whole thing around President Eisenhower got involved with the Greada Treaty. They were monitoring space, and there was these weird looking asteroids or something caught their attention out in space, so they directed the signals of communication out to these asteroids, and next thing you know, these ships were headed towards Earth. And then I think the ships that were headed to Earth with the Greys, but before the Greys got here, that they said the Nordics contacted the humans, whatever, or the people in charge of the government or the military, or Eisenhower, whatever, and tell them not to do business with the Greys because they couldn't be trusted and whatever, and then that the Nordics would share their technology with us, but we had to disarm it, but become more spiritual, like, or whatever, and we had to get rid of our nuclear weapons. So of course the United States is not going to go for that, so they didn't agree to that. But when the Greys got here, they agreed to their terms. The Greys agreed, oh, you let us abduct some of your people, and we'll only abduct so many of your people, do a couple experiments, erase their memories, put them back, and then they'll just be back fine, and we'll give you guys exchange of technology. Well, according to the rumors and the research and what I heard, that the Greys didn't abide by the agreement. They started abducting way more people than they were supposed to. It just didn't turn out well. And you have to wonder that some of these people who have gone missing and never found, like in some of David Paulides' books, are missing 411, or what's going on underneath the Dulce base. You have to wonder, is it in relation to the Greada Treaty that Eisenhower supposedly had agreed to when he was in office? So yeah, that's what Project Sigma is about. I thought it was very interesting. So I don't know how much you guys know about it, or if you guys know about Project Sigma out there. So let me know if you do. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. What else I was gonna read to you guys? See if there's anything I want to read in here from the book from you guys. Anything else about Project Sigma? No, I guess that's it about Project Sigma. So I just thought it was interesting that I had never heard of it, and then it was mentioned right here in my book. I think there's something else on here on page 155 where it talks about Project Sigma. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's another chapter in here where it mentions it a little bit. And this is in relation to the Roswell. So the July 1947 Roswell crash was mentioned. So, however, was another one at Roswell in 1949. Investigators at the site found 5 bodies and 1 living alien who was taken to a safe house at Los Alamos National Laboratory north of Albuquerque. The aliens were known as extraterrestrial biological entities, otherwise known as EBEs. EBE was befriended, if that was the word, by an Air Force officer, but that being died of unknown causes on June 18, 1952. EBE's friend by 1964, a colonel, was among those who were to greet the aliens who landed at Holloman. Subsequently, it would be referred to as EBE-1, since in later years another such being, EBE-2, would take up residence in a safe house. After that, a third EBE appeared on the scene and was now living in secret at an American base. Okay, so let me go into the next chapter. The briefing paper said that other crashes had occurred, including one at Aztec, New Mexico. The wreckage and the bodies had been moved to such facilities at Los Alamos Laboratory, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So, the crash at Aztec, New Mexico, there was about, I think they said there was about 16 bodies inside this craft. Oil workers happened upon the crash before like the military got there, and they looked inside through this porthole and they thought it was military technology and the people were hurt. It's a long story. I'm not going to go into it because I've talked about it before on my website. But yeah, it was about 16 bodies involved in the Aztec craft. And the craft was pretty much perfectly intact when it crash landed into the side of a plateau in Aztec, New Mexico. And there was windows going around, and like in the porthole there was one small crack, they said like the size of a quarter. And one of the oil workers took this long metal oil pole and stuck it in. He was just visiting around to see if he could press some levers to open up, and for some reason he hit the right thing and this door opened up. So yeah. Let me see. Okay, so the wreckage and the bodies had been removed to such facilities as Los Alamos Laboratory and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. It always goes back to Wright-Patterson. Always goes back to Wright-Patterson. A number of highly classified projects dealt with these materials. They included Snowbird, research and development from back engineering of an intact spacecraft left by aliens as a gift, and Aquarius, the umbrella operation under which the research and contact efforts were coordinated. Project Sigma was the ongoing electronic communication efforts. This was also a defunct project. There was also a defunct project Garnet intended to investigate extraterrestrial influence on human evolution. So yeah, it didn't really say too much about Project Sigma, that chapter. I thought I was going to talk a little bit more about it, but no, that was it. Very interesting how the Greys supposedly have influenced human evolution and religious aspects for us. So I don't know if I believe that or not. Anyway, I mean, if they've been here for like some thousands of years, 24,000 years, like the book said, it's definitely possible. So that means that they do English, like let's say the language you speak is the language from them. Do they normally speak English? And because you have to wonder how these beings able to speak to us so clearly, telepathically, in our language. It's when abductees are abducted and they're speaking to them telepathically. It's perfect English. These beings know perfect English, so it's English their native language, and we learn from them, and they taught us. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with consciousness. Maybe, I don't know. It's just interesting that they could speak our language telepathically. Because you have to figure if they evolved on another planet, they're not going to have the same vocal cords or whatever. Because obviously they don't talk physically. So, but yet, they still understand our language to speak to us in our head clearly. Although, except for the one case in Betty and Barney Hill case, I think she said I can't remember if she said the leader spoke to her by mouth. I think or maybe he spoke to her in English telepathically in her head, but he was the only one that spoke English. The other entities or beings that were on the ship, he spoke to them, but he didn't speak to them telepathically, but he was speaking to them in another language that she had never heard of, that she couldn't make out. So, I don't know. I have to go back and look at that. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's all of my thoughts. I just wanted to put Project Sigma out there. Maybe you guys have heard of it, know a little bit more about it. So, yeah, I thought it was interesting. But I'm going to conclude the night with a Sasquatch bedtime story. So, yes, for all you Sasquatch lovers out there like I am, which I think Sasquatch lives in. I was thinking about this the other day, how we've never been able to really see a Sasquatch or capture one or be able to find where they live, because I think they don't live here on our dimension, on our realm. And that's what a lot of people think. According to, you listen to Native Americans talk about Sasquatch stuff, a lot of them believe that Sasquatch doesn't live in our universe or our reality or dimension. But they've also seen them associated with UFO. Like when UFOs appear in certain areas, there's always Sasquatches there, and there usually be orbs there too. So I don't know. There's definitely something to it. Okay, let's see. What Sasquatch bedtime story that I want to read to you guys tonight? Okay, I'm gonna pick a story from 1923, a Sasquatch encounter. Cowboy shoots rifle at Bigfoot. In her book, The Mongolian Monster, Arizona's Bigfoot, Susan Farnsworth says that an early incident occurred in November of 1923 when a hunter and trapper named Jake Waite encountered the monster near the small town Escudilla, which is near Alpine, Arizona, on the New Mexico border. Waite was tracking one of the last grizzly bears in Arizona. I didn't know Arizona had grizzly bears. And that was the last one. That's so awful. Known as clubfoot, as it had chewed off a front foot that had been caught in a steel bear trap. That's horrible. Waite described an animal that was stalking him and his horse. At first he thought it was a bear, but when he caught a glimpse of the animal walking on two legs like a man, he thought it might be a person. Dismounting from his horse to get behind a boulder for safety, he called out to the person whom he thought was trying to steal his horse. "If you are a man, speak up." When no answer came, Waite called again, "I am armed and I will shoot." Finally, when no answer was given, Waite shouted, "I'd hate to kill you over a horse." Suddenly the creature, a giant ape-like man, ran for the horse, and Waite fired his rifle. The creature fell but then got up immediately and kept running for the horse. Waite fired 2 more times but did not seem to affect the monster. He then emptied his rifle into the huge hairy creature. As he reloaded his rifle, he saw that the creature was now retreating. He emptied his rifle into the creature again and let out a blood-curdling scream, but it never went down. With only 2 shells left, Waite decided to save them in case he would need them later. He got back home to Alpine and he tested his last 2 bullet cartridges by firing them into a double stack of 2x4 wood pieces. He found that his cartridges barely penetrated one 2x4, and he realized that the powder in the shells had gone bad. The Mongolian monster was not bulletproof after all. Waite had been firing bad cartridges. Interesting. I'm going to read one more. This is from 1924. Bigfoot with an armload of corn picking turnips. A report from the Bigfoot Co-op and Peter Gutierrez says that Mabel Fletcher of Flagstaff said her family had a ranch at the foot of the San Francisco Peaks, 5 miles northwest of the city. Mabel says that in July of 1924, she and her mother saw a hairy creature about 7 feet tall that was covered with light brown hair. She and her mother watched while the hairy creature held an armload of the farm's corn while it put up turnips from the garden. When they went outside to yell at the Bigfoot, it ran through a wheat field and jumped a rail fence to make its way to the nearby pine forest, still clutching its armload of turnips and corn. Yummy. So yes, that is your Bigfoot Sasquatch story for tonight. So I hope you guys have sweet dreams. Dream of Sasquatch, Bigfoot. Let me know what you think below. Give me comments on Project Sigma. Give me comments on any new alien abduction stories. I do want to ask a question. Do you guys think alien abductions are still going on a lot today? Because it seemed like when Bud Hopkins was alive and what was the other guy? There's another professor I know. Oh, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me later. But I know when they were doing their research and they was interviewing people abductees and putting them through hypnosis or whatever. I think it was back in the maybe 80s or 90s. It seemed like the abductions were happening a lot. There were so many people coming in to talk to Bud Hopkins and other researchers, and they would recount their abduction stories through hypnosis and why they were possibly being abducted, that they had eggs taken from them, they were pregnant and they weren't pregnant, and I don't know. But I've gone to UFO conferences and stuff lately. I haven't heard really too many people saying they've been abducted a lot lately. So has it died down? Is it still continuing? Have these beings got what they needed and satisfied their program? Because obviously they have some type of program going on. So whatever their program is, I don't know. So yeah, Dr. David Jacobs' books Walking Among Us. He's been on Richard Dolan show before, and he talks about, because he's had a lot of abductees come to him, and he's well, not, well, I guess you could say interviewed them, because he's like a psychiatrist, doctor and stuff, and he's put them through hypnosis and stuff, and they all talk about hybrids being created and sperm being taken over, and these hybrids on these ships, and it's just a lot. He thinks it's like a takeover or whatever. I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know, but I definitely think that these beings are walking among us, especially if they can look human, which you've heard a lot of stories of people who've been abducted and they've seen human looking ETs on board the ship, like on the Travis Walton case when he was abducted. Those the gray ones, the short gray beings on the ship, but there was also a human looking one that never spoke to him. He said the guy was really fit. He thought it was human, whatever, and he was talking to him, and I guess, but the man never said a word, not one word. He just took Travis Walton, led him to another room, and put him on the table. He put this mask over his face. Next thing you know, Travis Walton was out. He woke up on the street back in Arizona, not that far from Snowflake. So yeah. So there are other accounts of human-looking beings on these ships. Now, whether or not they're hybrids, which is possible, I definitely think that some of them are hybrids. They could be fully human. Maybe decades ago, these ETs came here, abducted a group of humans, took them back to wherever their planet, experimented there, bred them there, whoever, and brought them back here to see how they would react with us. I don't know. I'm just guessing. My mind's all over the place when it comes to this stuff. I just think it's good. Or maybe there's just another planet of humans out there that looks just like us. It's possible that there's another race of humans out there on another Earth where they were in the perfect Goldilocks zone and they evolved there. But maybe they were in a more heavier traffic area where other ETs were closer, like the Greys or the Nordics or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they just evolved faster than us. I don't know. But I definitely think there are hybrid ETs walking among us that do look human. Now, what they're doing here, if they've infiltrated our like facilities and stuff like that, I don't know. But if they can look human and they have those mental capabilities to like mess with people's minds and stuff, like the Greys do, or the Mantids or whatever, it's certainly possible that they can. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? This is the stuff I think about, and so when I listen to other researchers who talk about this stuff too, so I don't know. But there's definitely is a hybrid program going on. So yeah, that's it. So that's all I got. I'm gonna leave it for tonight. Again, I got to show you guys again my artwork my nephew did for me. No, I have never seen a gray. I just described to him what I wanted, and he did it for me. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Awesome. I love it. So yeah, that's it. And may I also just suggest read this book if you guys haven't read it. Also read some of Richard Dolan's book. I have one of his books, UFOs and where is it? UFOs in the National Security State. And then I have one of his other books, The Alien Agendas, and he's coming out with another book soon. It's about USOs, underwater submerged objects, so which I find that very fascinating. I definitely think there are bases of some sort down in our oceans where we have yet to go you can't explore. And also in Antarctica. So yeah, anyway, that's it. That's all I got. I'm out. Give me your comments and thoughts below about all the weirdness of stuff I've talked about tonight. All right, bye till next time.